North Carolina GOP, man, they played some dirty ball today. Man, here's what they did. Check out what they did. Here we go. All right. Oh, let me get back up to the headline. Trickery, deception, and lies. Governor Cooper blasts Republicans after secret vote on budget veto. So here's what happened. The governor of North Carolina, who's a Democrat, vetoed this budget bill. And Republicans didn't like that. So here's what they did. Let's go to the article here. This is from Raleigh. The North Carolina House of Representatives, this happened today, by the way, held a surprise emergency session on September 11th and voted to override Governor Roy Cooper's veto of the General Assembly's proposed budget. The vote ended up being 55-9, with only 9 Democrats out of all of them. Only 9 of the Democrats were present. Where were the rest of the Democrats? Here's where they were at. Here's the quote from Governor Cooper. For a decade, this Republican legislator elected by unconstitutional means has used tricks and bullying to starve our public schools and deny health care to 500,000 working North Carolinians. They use lies, bribes, and illegal districts because their policies damage our state and can't pass on their own merit. Today, on the 18th anniversary of 9/11, while the state was honoring first responders, Republicans called a deceptive surprise override of my budget veto. So where were the Democrats? The Democrats and the governor were at a 9/11 event. They were at a 9/11 commemorative event, and Republicans just held a secret session and voted to override this veto. Now, it does still have to go through the Senate, so we'll see what happens here. This is breaking. This literally happened this morning Eastern time. But that's what they did. And here's all the Democrats had to say about it. Look at this. So here's a quote from Deb Butler, a Democrat in Wilmington. I'm so very disappointed that the Republicans would stoop to this level. If you could have seen the smirking, the rib poking, the grinning, the thrill of victory when you have intentionally misled our leader, this is despicable behavior. This is wrong. Here's what Senator Kirk DeVere of Democrat in Cumberland. This is wrong, unethical, and not what North Carolina citizens deserve. Okay, so, and this was horrible what the Republicans did, of course. This entire event is a snapshot into what is wrong with our politics. This is what is wrong with our politics in the United States of America. The GOP is morally repulsive beyond measure. They are such a repulsive institution, it cannot even be quantified. And the Democrats are weak beyond measure. They are weak beyond comprehension. And this is a snapshot of that. Okay, imagine. Here's what they did. Now, first of all, think of the supporters of the GOP. These are rah-rah, patriotic, right? If you're not with the, if you're not with us, you're with the terrorists. And here, the GOP on 9/11, during a commemorative 9/11 event, decided to play politics and have an emergency session. Imagine if the Democrats did that. Imagine if the Democrats did that, what the GOP would do. They would be screaming at the rafters on what a disgusting, unpatriotic thing the Democrats did. And the Democrats would roll back. Like they would just cave on whatever it was. Here the GOP does that. And instead of taking the messaging that direction, how dare they on a 9/11 commemorative event where we were paying homage to the people who lost their lives and paying homage to the troops that have gone on to fight for our freedom. And they do this and they play politics. Instead, the Democrats just say, this is deceptive. How dare they? This isn't fair and we deserve better. Why not be screaming the 9/11 portion of it to the rafters? Why? Because the Democrats aren't good at messaging. Because the Democrats don't have any fight. And that's all by design. But then when people go into the voting booth, at least they're not as repulsive as the GOP. Yeah, the reason the GOP is able to be as repulsive as they are is because they don't have any real competition. The Democrats just rolled over and let this happen and then talked about how they were rib poking and they were grinning. Yeah, because they knew they were going to get away with it. Why wouldn't you be screaming the 9/11 aspect of it? Call them unpatriotic. Say how deceptive that was and how disrespectful that was to the first responders, how disrespectful that was to the families of those who lost their lives when the Twin Towers came down. Why wouldn't you take that path as far as the messaging here? Why? Because the Democrats are the Washington Generals of American politics. They are a parody. They're going to whine about tone, and they were rib poking. We deserve better. No, you scream at the top of your lungs. How dare they do this on 9/11? How dare they do this to the first responders? How dare they disrespect the families like this? It's not that hard. I came up with this just reading this article in real time on a live stream, and I'm a freaking comedian, not a politician. And they didn't. You don't even hear them mentioning that part. The article mentioned that part, and all the quotes from elected officials. They don't even mention that part. How dare they do this on 9/11? They don't even go there. Here, let me make sure. Let me make sure there's no. Yeah, even the tweets. They don't even. I mean, they talk about how it was wrong, of course, but they don't even take that route with it. And again, I'm not trying. It's repulsive what the GOP did. That was, of course, terrible. But, you know, so there you go. There's a snapshot into everything that's wrong with our politics. We have two parties with power. One is repulsive beyond comprehension. One is weak beyond comprehension. So weak that they lose to that repulsive beyond comprehension party. And then they really do nothing about it. And they're cheated on the regular, and they do nothing about it because their gravy train doesn't stop running whether they win or lose. In fact, if progressives start winning, the gravy train might end. So there you go. There you go. You got the Democrat. They're the resistance, baby. They can't even think to pin the 9/11 part on the GOP. They can't even think to do that. Wow. I mean, have you seen the other guys? Have you seen the other guys? Where else are you going to go? Don't expect better. One of those was a serious slogan, by the way, from the Democratic Party.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your